What is going on, everybody? It is not a penguin. And before we get into today's video, I just want to say something really quick. I almost didn't make this video because movies were good this year. It sounds like the most boring possible take I could actually make. But today I wanted to talk about movies. More specifically, why the hell 2026 has quietly been one of the best years for movies in a long time, in my opinion. Because I don't think it's just me when I say I went into this year expecting the usual from movie theaters. Sequels we didn't ask for, a remake of a remake, another superhero movie that's kind of just like it checks off boxes instead of like a genuine new story. Instead, this year, every time I walked out of the theater after going to a movie, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that was actually like really good. Not good for like a blockbuster, not good for what it was, like actually shocking me each time I was leaving and made me want to go see more movies. So I'm going to break down 5 movies that made this year what it is so far, why I think they worked, and what it actually says about where movies might be headed in the future. But this is my spoiler warning to everyone before I get into the first one. I'll be talking about these movies and parts of them. So if you don't want them spoiled, please click off now. And 3 of these I have seen, one I have not, and one of them comes out the day I am recording this. I don't know if I'll actually upload it the day I'm recording this, but you could probably already know what I'm talking about based on the timeline. But anyways, let's get into it. First one up, Obsession. This was a low budget horror movie that just word of mouthed its way into being one of the biggest stories at the box office of all year. And let me say, this is rightly deserved. I actually went to the movies with my girlfriend to watch this, and all I can say was the theater was sold out, and it was genuinely one of the best horror films I had ever seen. The acting is some of the best I've seen in a horror film in quite a while, especially by actors that haven't had a big role in a major movie before at all. This movie had me covering my face in parts of it just from how freaky Nikki would be acting sometimes. Like that ass, I didn't even want to look at my girl after leaving because she'd be making those faces that she did in the movie, and it was actually scaring the shit out of me. Obsession opened at the box office around $17 million, which is fine. That's respectable. Nothing crazy, but it's good for their budget. But then the second weekend, it made more than the first, and the third, it made more than that. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because people are leaving the theater and immediately texting their friends like, bro, you gotta see this movie. And that's the kind of momentum you can't buy. Like, when's the last time you saw movies numbers go up instead of falling off a cliff after opening weekend? It ended up raking in a total of $460 million, and the budget for production was $750,000. Absolutely unheard of Houdini magic pulled off by Curry Barker on his first ever movie when he was coming from making YouTube skits. Absolutely phenomenal movie, and I thought I had to start off the lift with this one, and it's a must watch if you haven't seen it for yourself. Second up, we got Backrooms, which before anyone flames me in the comments, yes, I had to look up the ending on YouTube afterwards too. Trust me, I know it was confusing as fuck. That part I wasn't a fan of. But Backrooms. This thing started out as a creepypasta on YouTube. Not a book, not a comic, not an existing IP some studio bought the rights to. A guy on the internet made something people got obsessed with, and it turned it into a legit horror phenomenon. It had the biggest opening weekend for its studio ever, over $118 million worldwide. Sit with that for a second. A story from a random internet forum outperformed movies backed by actual film studios with actual budgets behind the marketing. I like the way the movie introduced the Backrooms though. You know, it starts off with like the power getting sucked out of the building and them trying to figure out what's actually happening. And he finds out through the panel that one of the switches are sideways, which causes him to investigate the rest of the store. And eventually he finds a wall that leads into them. I just thought it made kind of sense for how someone would actually discover them. And I thought the sets that they used were actually great and looked like what the Backrooms would be in real life. But yeah, the first weekend for this movie was absolutely phenomenal, and it dropped off hard in weekend two, but horror movies usually do that. But the fact that it got there in the first place tells you something. Audiences don't actually need a recognizable name slapped on the poster. They need something that feels like it came from somewhere real. Backrooms felt like the internet folklore turned into a movie, and that's exactly why it worked. It made the people who went to watch the movie almost feel like they were part of what was going on because it was from the internet when they were growing up and they'd seen it evolve over time. I just thought all in all, it was a great experience. And yeah, the ending, like I said earlier, it was confusing. But for me, I went not expecting a whole lot. I wanted to see what angle they took on it. And all in all, I thought they did a good job with it. And now here's where things get a lot less horror movie and a lot more personal for me. This is the reason I actually want to make this whole video. Number 3, Project Hail Mary. And I'll be straight with you. This one didn't dominate the box office the way some of these others did. And I didn't watch it in theaters either. I waited till it came out on Prime. And let me tell you now, go watch it immediately. Like immediately after this video if you have not. Like, I'm a grown man and this old me shed a tear watching it. No joke. And I don't care because story-wise, this might be the best thing I have seen all year, hands down. Call me crazy, but I have watched a lot of movies and this could maybe crack my top 10, no joke. And I say maybe because I would actually have to make that list, but you get my point that I'm making. It's based on the Andy Weir book, the same guy who wrote The Martian, which was also another great movie when it came out. It's a story about isolation, sacrifice, and finding hope in everything, even in the worst of moments. And it builds friendship throughout the movie with Rocky, who is one of my favorite characters. Love Rocky, who actually has so much personality considering that he's a rock. And the humor is very much Gen Z coded, so if you're not into that, you might not like it, but I found it to be pretty funny. And the way the story is presented, switching back to present day and past, as Grace slowly remembers what happened and how he got there, was truly one of the best ways to do it once you find out the ending. And I think it has the perfect amount of seriousness, humor, and overall story. So in my opinion, it's been one of the best movies to come out so far in 2026. Say what you want, but this is my list, and I think it is one of the best ones to come out in quite a while. And the fourth movie that I want to go over, I haven't actually watched, so I'll keep it brief, but I had to include it. The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan doing an epic based on freaking Homer. I mean, come on. This is a guy who could literally make anything at this point and get a green light, and he chose to go out and make one of the oldest stories in human history into a massive IMAX experience. Which I must say is the coolest part about this movie, because if you're going to see it, you have to go watch it in IMAX to get the full screen and the full picture of it. Because going to a normal theater just doesn't do it justice. And it's working, like really working. The best Monday in the entire year at the box office. People are literally fighting for IMAX seats in LA and New York right now because they're all sold out immediately. It's kind of the thing that makes me actually excited going to the theater again, instead of just waiting 3 months to watch it at home. People are actually excited to go out and see these things right away because you can only experience it in the theater. Say what you want about Christopher Nolan, but the guy makes you feel like you have to see it on the big screen because his movies are always just so phenomenal. And in 2026, that's not nothing. Originality is everything. Okay, last one, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I know it's a Marvel movie and I'm a Marvel fanboy, so I'm throwing it on the list. I don't care if you're not the biggest fan of it, but it should be pretty solid. But this one just came out like literally today as I'm making this, and I'll admit I'm a little skeptical because how many times can you make a Spider-Man story before it starts to feel repetitive? But early reactions are calling it one of the best entries in the MCU in years. I will say I'm excited to see if Ned and MJ will remember him at some point, or just by the end they are dating again, or if they're just friends. I don't know. We'll see. The main villain, Scorpion, I have seen trailers, just looks kind of meh, and I don't know if there's going to be multiple like there has been in the past, which I'm going to assume so, but I'm hoping for the story to get wrapped up and to see what the action holds. All in all, I think it will be a good ending to tie up Spider-Man, and I'm excited to see it just come to a close and see how they finally wrap this all up. Not to mention that later this year, Marvel is going to come out with Doomsday around Christmas, so we have even more to look forward to. So look, if you made it this far, here's what I actually think is going on. For years, the narrative has been movies are dying. Nobody wants to go to the theaters anymore. Originality is dead. And the movies recently just quietly proved that wrong. Original horror movies are outperforming franchise sequels, and internet creepypasta is becoming a legit theatrical hit. A sci-fi book adaptation that actually respected its source material and kept true to the story is one of the best that I've seen in years. And a 3,000-year-old story by Christopher Nolan is packing IMAX theaters on release day. And a fourth Spider-Man movie that critics are saying are better than the last one and hopefully brings the story to a close. None of that happens if audiences actually stop caring about movies. And if anything, I think it proves the opposite. People still want to be in the theater. They just want something worth showing up for. So maybe the lesson here isn't that movies are dying. Maybe it's that we just needed a year where studios actually took a swing. I hope that these studios try and make more original stories like they have and that people are actually interested in. And if they do, we could be in for a solid ride of future entertainment. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know in the comments what your favorite movie of the year has been so far. Genuinely curious to hear what I'm missing out on and if there's any I haven't seen. And if you enjoyed this one, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace.
Vocês estão prontos?